Rhonda, what does make you happy? Pat surprises you. He listens to you. He heard that you wanted to go to concerts, that you enjoy concerts, that you enjoy music. He surprises you with a concert ticket, and you make an entire problem out of the fact that he planned a surprise. Rhonda, do you know what a surprise is?
It really surprised me that you just bought me a ticket and assumed I was going to join for your mom's thing. Like, you didn't say, hey, I really want to take my mom to this.
Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Legs, and I would greatly appreciate if you would consider supporting the channel by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It helps to get the videos out there, and it inspires me to keep creating. Please hype the videos if you have hypes left for the week. Thank you so much to all of you guys that have been engaging with the Married at First Sight content. It has been great to read your opinions, your thoughts, your feelings in the comments, and I also want to give a secondary shout out to you guys for not spoiling any of the episodes. I don't think one time this season there has been a point where I was not able to watch the next episode, have no idea what happens. You guys have done such a good job because these episodes have actually been very meaty. So you guys have done such a good job keeping it under wraps. Thank you for allowing me to watch the show at my pace and get these reviews out for you. Today, we are going to be talking about Married at First Sight, Season 19, Episode 11. And boy, oh boy, Rhonda's back. Rhonda is back. Pat is being chastised again. Let's jump in. So as we remember at the end of last episode, they're all at the dinner table. They're all talking about their relationships and what they like about their partner and what they've learned. And Brittany is getting increasingly more upset. She storms off. She goes to the bathroom, and Megan goes to check on her.
We don't have an emotional connection. That is what it is. Like, that's what it is.
It didn't get resolved after football.
No.
So Megan's now in the bathroom asking Brittany, how she's feeling, what's going on. Brittany's like, does it look like I'm not okay? Does it look like I'm not okay? And Megan's like, I mean, it does kind of seem like you guys are not in the best spot. She's like, we don't have an emotional connection. We do not have an emotional connection. And that is that. It's clear. He doesn't feel it. I don't feel it. I get it. We don't have an emotional connection. And again, the way that Brittany goes from 0 to 100 like this is unbearable. It's just not functional in a relationship. I don't know where Will said that there was no emotional connection. Again, do I think some of Will's nonchalant nature can be interpreted a certain way? Yes, I'm not denying that. But the way that Brittany takes one little phrase and gets herself this worked up, that's just not healthy. It's not healthy for you. Megan eventually leaves the bathroom, though, and tells Will, hey, maybe you should go check up on Brittany because it will make her feel like you actually care about her, like you actually give a fuck about her feelings, essentially. And again, yes, in an ordinary situation, if your partner storms away crying at a dinner table and is not feeling good, should you, as a partner, go check on them? Absolutely. But this is a pattern where Will is always having to run after a temper tantruming Brittany, a Brittany who's crying, a Brittany who's having a meltdown. And I feel like it is very exhausting. Will does go to the bathroom. He apologizes yet again for his actions today. He tells her a lot of things that she wants to hear. I love you, baby. I'm here for you, baby. It's us too, baby. Baby, I want you. I want us. I want to be together. And eventually, again, as Brittany gets the exact words that she wants to hear, then all of a sudden things are okay. Look, we have to call a spade a spade. It is not sustainable in a relationship where your partner has to constantly do this, constantly boost your ego in order for you to not spiral out and have a meltdown. It's just not feasible. Do I think Will is nonchalant? Do I think Will has a more reserved, passive, or maybe he doesn't care? I don't know him enough to know which one of the few it is. Yes, I do. But at the end of the day, this is getting ridiculous. It literally reminds me of like my little cousins, if they're crying and you have to go console them and tell them how great they are in order to get them to stop crying. That's what Brittany is reminding me of. Even goes on to tell her she's so beautiful. He loves being with her. He wants this. I'm like, this is ridiculous. But Will says in the confessional that for him, it is exhausting to keep having the same conversations over and over again. So instead, he decided to approach this situation by telling Brittany that he wants to be with her and reassuring her that he likes being in this relationship, essentially. The couples all go play truth or drink eventually when Brittany emerges from the bathroom and Megan brings non-alcoholic wine. Haha, she's so great at hiding that she's pregnant. Child, no one is even suspecting that stuff. It does not matter. And y'all aren't even close like that where anybody would pick up on you acting weird. Let's be for real. But anyway, most of the questions are about Jalen admitting that she has a sex life, essentially, and her mom looking on, pretending that she doesn't care. That's the game. Next, Brittany and Will continue their conversation in the bedroom, and Will, again, does more reassurance to Brittany.
I would say that for me, being able to get some input from everyone was helpful too, I think. I want this.
Letting her know, look, I enjoyed this weekend with you. I had a lot of fun. I did notice that Jalen and Megan were kind of smacking your mind a little bit. And I was like, oh boy. Brittany says, I appreciate them for speaking up because it made me feel like I wasn't crazy for feeling this way. And I'm like, is Megan and even Jalen, we've seen the way they both act. Are those really your voices a reason? I'm gonna just keep it real. Overall, though, Brittany does appreciate him checking on her. Will does admit that he could do a better job of, in the moment, explaining if something is wrong or not. And again, maybe I'm Delulu, but let's not forget that Brittany pressed this man to find and make a problem that was not going to be a big problem for him. I don't know. In either case, though, he reminds her again that he wants to be in this with her. He is committed to being married to her. Now, Will does bring up in the confessional that he feels that he and Brittany are making strides and their emotional connection is growing. However, for him, he feels like he's kind of at an emotional plateau. He remembers that there was a girl he dated in high school that got really mad at him because he wasn't sending heart emojis all the time and telling her that he loves her all the time. And again, I actually like that Will told this story because it was a girl he dated in high school. This is what I keep saying. Brittany's mentality on love and the way that her partner is going to talk to her is very juvenile. If these two were 17 and 18-year-olds, 16 and 17, I would get it. I would get this constant need to be told, I love you, baby. You're so hot, baby. You're so cute, baby. I'm in love with you, baby. Heart, 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 heart. But it's like, is that how adults are talking to each other? You should be secure enough in yourself that your partner can tell you a few times here and there, they love you, they love you, they love you. Am I saying Will is perfect? No, I think Will is very nonchalant. I do think he could work on being more expressive. We even see later with his mom that his mom describes that he does have a problem with that. But let's also not pretend like Brittany doesn't need a high level of validation to the point where it feels childish. It feels juvenile. Her views of love feel very high school coded. I'm sorry. But Will lets her know one more time in this conversation that he adores the person she is. He adores her and he chooses her. Then we get to Chad and Belinda. They are back in the room and Chad's like, so what'd you think about Jalen's answers to the truth or drink game? And she's like, you know, she's an adult. I know. I don't care. I'm like, Belinda, I saw your face when they panned over. You definitely felt some type of way, but you're right. Your daughter is an adult. She's almost 30 years old. Belinda lets us know in the confessional that she does see a future with Chad. And if today was decision day, she would say yes. However, she doesn't know what will arise in the future. So Belinda's talking to Chad and she's like, you know, if there's any problems with anything, you can let me know. I feel like you always make it seem like things are really good. So just wanted to know how you felt about stuff.
Well, that's not home.
I mean, when we're winding down, like sometimes you'll come and sit with me for a little bit.
but then you'll still go do your wind down.
Chad's like, well, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm definitely used to living at my own apartment alone. So for me, it's kind of a lot with the camera crew, with all of these different people around. I'm not really used to that. So Belinda then goes into how when they are at home, Chad will basically come lay down in bed with her for a little while as they're winding down, but then he goes to take separate wind down time on the couch. So for Belinda, she's concerned if it's always going to be that way, if he's always going to need separate time by himself, or if they could just lay down together. Now, I felt like the way they were talking about this was weird because are they saying that Chad sleeps on the couch? Like he'll come lay down with her and then he'll sleep on the couch, or he'll just wind down. They kept saying wind down, but I wasn't sure if then Chad comes back to the bed later or what. Because also my commentary is a little bit different based off of what it is. If Chad just goes to take an hour or two, okay, maybe like an hour, let's say, on the couch at night after he comes to hang out with Belinda, I don't see the problem with that. People can have alone time from their partners. You don't have to be with your partner 24/7, and it's okay after work, especially after doing things. Again, Chad has expressed that he has a little bit of trouble with the filming crew. I can understand needing just a little bit of woosah time. However, if Chad's coming in there for 5 minutes and then sleeping on the couch, okay, I can understand the frustration there. I, at the minimal least, feel like they would need to have a deeper conversation about what the problem is and why he can't sleep in the bed with her. Chad goes on to say that he's pretty uncomfortable with the apartment and the dog sleeping in the bed. She's like, so Lovey sleeping on the bed is the reason why you can't be there? And Chad continues and says, yeah, I kind of want to train the dog to know where his own space is and to know where he can and can't sleep. It's really hard when the dog is sleeping on his legs and he just doesn't feel comfortable. And I get that. I'm sorry. I get that. Yes, as a person who has my cats sometimes sleep on my bed, I did that when I was single. If I had a partner who said, hey, I don't really like the cats on the bed, then that's it. You can't force people to sleep with your pets on the bed. And we saw Belinda's dog. I thought her dog was a little bit big. I don't remember. But in either case, if Chad's saying, hey, I don't feel comfortable with this, you know what I'm saying? We got to have some kind of compromise where both of you guys can be happy. The dog can literally sleep in a dog bed on the floor right next to you. They actually sell standing things. I have one for my cats. They sell like a standing bed that you can put on the side of your bed where they're not on the bed directly, but they're still on this standing thing that literally attaches to the side of your bed. If it's that serious, there are compromises with that. But I felt like Belinda didn't really ask a lot of questions. Instead, I feel like Belinda started to get a lot into her own head in this moment because she was like, is it always going to be like this? Is it always going to be like you just saying, hey, coming to chill with me for a couple of minutes and then going to do your own thing? Because I don't think that's going to work for me. She talks about how she doesn't want to feel like Chad doesn't ever want to spend time with her. And like, it's going to be a thing where she has to force him to talk to her. And Chad is like, it's not you. It's just all of this. I don't have a problem with you. And I feel like Chad was extremely direct. At the end of the day, y'all two are older, working individuals. This man is not about to be up all night because your dog is tossing and turning and taking all of his space. But Chad says that it is a couple of weeks out for being done with this whole production, the show, and then they can figure out who they truly are. For him, it's a lot. He's really been struggling with this whole thing, but he's going to try to push through it so that way they can actually live their lives the way they want to. Now, Chad, I'm not going to let you get off scot-free because why did you sign up for a TV show if you know that you don't like the production company and the cameras and all of that? By now, I feel like we should have a good idea of what these shows are like. There's so much out there about what it's like to be on a reality show. So for me, I do still wonder what possessed him to think about signing up for Married at First Sight if he was going to have such an issue with doing the criteria of the show. You don't watch the show that you are going to be on. I always find it very confusing that these people don't watch and research the shows that they're about to be on. Josh and Jalen back in their room talk about how they want to get a group of friends together. They want to bring some of his friends and some of her friends to do some kind of bonding experience so they can get to know each other a little bit better and start to build this quote unquote community. But we see all the couples packing up and everybody's back home. And then we have Will and Brittany back at their shared apartment. So the two of them are talking a little bit about Brittany and how she got frustrated at the couples retreat and she walked away. And that kind of evolves into talking about what Will does when he gets frustrated. So for him, he says when he gets frustrated, he wants to be alone. He goes to work out in the gym. He just does something where he can let off that steam. And Brittany claims she does the same. And I'm like, really, Brittany? Because we've seen you on the show get frustrated, have a meltdown, stomp away, go into tears. We do not see you walk away and do something alone that's productive, but okay. Brittany claims that she realized during this experience that when she gets overwhelmed, she gets frustrated. So Will asks her, how is she feeling now? Brittany claims that she realizes that Will is very attentive and very genuine. He is different than the guys that she's usually with. She admits that she is used to being with guys who are emotionally unavailable, who do not have emotional intelligence, and that Will is the opposite of that. This is her words. She says Will is the opposite of that, and she's not used to it. AKA, I try to pick problems out with this man because I'm used to having to do that in other relationships. We have to call a spade a spade. Brittany does not know how to recognize a healthy relationship. She just doesn't. And look, many people have been there when you've been in a series of bad relationship after bad relationship after bad relationship. But there comes a point where you're nitpicking. You're the problem. You're instigating. Do I think Will is perfect? I do not. I do not. But again, Brittany is the instigator in a lot of these situations, to the point where I feel like sometimes we don't even have time to evaluate the things in Will that need to be improved because Brittany is so busy instigating and blowing things up to a point that they don't need to be at. Again, they both say that their emotional connection is growing, and then we get this little scene of them tickling each other and laughing, and I'm like, cool, you guys are good for now. Let's see how long that lasts. We want to start a timer. 1 day, 2 day. Let's start a bet. Then we go on to Pat and Rhonda. They are still with Rhonda's grandkids. They're outside having a little picnic. So we find out that Rhonda's stepdad, her mom's husband, is in the hospital with pneumonia. So it's been something really tough. Apparently her father passed away from pneumonia. So Pat's just trying to make light conversation and ask, hey, how'd you feel about the family gathering this weekend? Rhonda, very dismissively, it was good. Anyway, though, I want to actually get into a conversation about the stuff that happened this weekend.
Say, hey, I really want to take my mom to this show. This is what it's about. It'd be great if you could join us. Or like, are you free? I want you to join us.
Mind you, the same woman who claims Pat has no interest in her, never asks her any questions, doesn't care about her at all, is trying to ask her a question about her feelings. She dismissively answers it and then wants to take over and talk about the stuff she wants to talk about. Rhonda's like, I'm not gonna lie. It was pretty weird that you just assumed that I would want to join you and your mom at that concert that you bought tickets for. Like, yeah, it's just kind of weird that you would just buy tickets and you wouldn't even ask me first if I was into it. So Pat tries to take accountability and he says, I get it. I understand that maybe I did not coordinate that the best. So next time I will take a little bit more time to do that. Rhonda's like, strange choice of words that you would use coordinate rather than invite.
Team use the words.
Well, I
Coordinate versus invite, ask.
I think coordinate involves both.
This woman would have had me losing my mind. This woman would have had me losing my mind. Pat, you have the patience of a saint, sir, because she would have had me losing my mind. I would have already been done if I tried to surprise you with something that is your interest. Rhonda is constantly talking about how important music is to her and how much she loves concerts. She loves being outside. This is her community. Pat literally bought you a ticket. That means he used his ears to listen to you. The thing you claim that you don't feel seen, you don't feel heard, you don't feel like he has any interest in your hobbies. He buys you a ticket to a concert and you're complaining because he didn't ask you? Rhonda, have you never been surprised in your life by a man? You clearly haven't. At your big age of 63, no one has ever surprised you. And to be honest, that's a little bit sad. That's a little bit sad that this 63-year-old woman does not know what a surprise is, to the point where she needs to pick out and nitpick the fact that he tried to do something nice for her. So anyways, Pat's like, well, I thought coordinate implied both planning and inviting. That's coordinating. And I'm like, exactly. Rhonda continues. And then the fact that I was trying to talk to you about the calendar, and right in the middle of the situation where I was talking about the calendar and I was getting into it, right in the middle of when I was giving my thoughts, you just up and walk away. You don't even care. Just for a reminder, it sounded like the two of them were in a craft store picking up items as Rhonda is probably chastising this man, embarrassing him in the middle of the Michael's or whatever kind of store they got. And I'm like, I would have walked away from you as well. What are you supposed to do? Stand in the middle of a public location as you are going to chastise this man for minutes on end? And we know you talk, Rhonda. So Pat says, I'm gonna be honest, we had been having that conversation for a while. So the reason why I kind of walked away is because basically Pat basically says, I was trying to get things moving because we had been having that conversation for a while and we are in the middle of a store and we need to get going because we had places to be. At least we can pick this up in the car if you want to talk about it so badly. Pat says, I thought we had already gotten to the point of establishing like, yeah, we should have a calendar. We should share it. Rhonda, well, maybe you have these conversations in your head or something, because sometimes I just don't feel like you hear anything I have to say. So I don't know. Maybe you thought about it yourself. She is always making a condescending comment about him not being able to comprehend things, him not being able to hear, basically implying that this man is an idiot. Again, I would have lost my mind. So she goes on again and says, I'm starting to feel like you don't hear Rhonda the person. You don't hear me. Pat apologizes again. He says, look, I hear it. I should have coordinated better. We can make a calendar. I'm sorry I wasn't listening. Just basically everything that Rhonda is nitpicking out of this entire situation. Not once did I hear from Rhonda, thank you, Pat. Thank you for thinking of me. Thank you for doing something that I love. Even if I can't make it that day because something happened, thank you for being thoughtful about the fact that I told you I love music. Thank you for thinking of me in something that you enjoy. Thank you. Where is the thank you? Yo, Rhonda has me crashing out, y'all. This is crazy. Pat says, hey, maybe these situations keep happening because of where I come from and the way that I'm used to doing things. But also, I feel like I'm at a point where I'm trying to navigate still being myself in this relationship and not just becoming a clone of what you want me to be. Literally, Rhonda wants a plug and play. She wants a man that's going to be a yes man, that's just going to tag along with her to everything, take some cute pictures, be on her hip. So Pat says he's trying to navigate being himself, but at a point, it also feels like all she's doing is zeroing in on the things he does wrong. And exactly, we don't hear praise at all for anything positive. I don't think I've heard Rhonda say a positive word about this man ever, this entire time. Pat lets us know in the confessional that it is draining because he's been trying to make such a huge effort to make Rhonda feel heard, to make Rhonda feel seen. And it's just draining and upsetting to hear the fact that she still doesn't feel that way and she's still finding problems. But in either case, Rhonda claims actions speak louder than words. Again, this lady at her 63 years old, at her big age of 63, go see the lady and realize the reason why you have been single for 25 years. You haven't been able to find a thing in 25 years. It's not everybody else, Rhonda. It is you. So we get Belinda and Jalen on video chat, and basically we hear Belinda say that Chad was under the impression that they were not filming. So she went ahead and made a hair appointment. Come to find out, they actually were filming that day. So Chad got very, very upset when he got home from work, and he's texting production and including Belinda in it, basically saying that Belinda has appointments. How could they do all of this? Blah, 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 blah. Belinda basically asked Chad, why are you including me in this? I don't have the problems you have, so leave me out of it. If you got something to say to production, basically you say it yourself. I kind of understand that because I'm the same way. Do not speak for me. I don't care if we are in a couple, if we're in something, do not speak for me. ask me my opinion and let me speak on my own, especially if you're going to use me as a scapegoat. It's one thing if Chad was like, hey, I'm irritated. I have things to do tonight. I don't feel like filming. But to use kind of Belinda's appointment as the reason why he's upset and flipping out at production, I could understand being embarrassed by that, because I would be very embarrassed by that as well. Chad responds, what does it matter if I included you? You're my wife. And basically the situation escalated further and further and further. Jalen basically encourages Belinda to talk to Chad and let him know, hey, look, if you have a problem with something, speak for yourself. Don't speak for me, okay? What you got with the production company is you. What I got is me. And I agree. Again, I'm sorry, but I hate more than anything when I have like a partner or a friend and I'm embarrassed because of the way that they're treating wait staff. They're treating, I don't know, the production agents. They're treating customer service people. That's embarrassing for me. Do not put me up in that, because I was raised way differently than that. And I feel like Belinda is definitely like, I was not raised like that. So this is embarrassing for me. So I do get it. Belinda goes on to say that the hair appointment thing was not a big deal for her, that she could change the appointment. It's really not that serious. So to see Chad get so escalated like this is just something that she's not sure if she can live with like that. And I gotta be honest, while yes, I have heard the stress and strain that these reality shows put on people behind the scenes, I know the camera crew can provide a lot of pressure and the filming can be kind of wacky, and a lot of these people work full time and then have the cameras in their house. I'm not gonna lie. If I saw someone acting like this and then they're trying to tell me, hey, I'm gonna be different when all of this is gone, when it's actually just the two of us, it's gonna be great. I don't know. Because I feel like it's indicating a lot about the way Chad gets when he's frustrated or when things don't go the way that he expects. We've already heard him say multiple times, he says it again in this episode later, that he's used to calling the shots. He's used to being in charge. He's not used to people telling him what he should do and say. And I'm like, I just don't know. It would definitely concern me, because I feel like we're definitely starting to get snippets of that temper that I feel like I've been picking up on from episode 1. But Jalen is basically like, yeah, I don't know how much I understand him being that way, because the only reason why you guys are even married in the first place is because of the show. So it's a little weird to have all this vitriol for the show. Megan and Derek, I'm gonna preface this and say this. It's very clear to me that Megan and Derek have agreed not to really talk about anything on camera anymore, not to have serious conversations. A lot of their scenes feel very surface level. And so I'm not gonna spend too much time on the two of them, because it's just very clear that we're not actually getting anything real out of the two of them since she admitted that she's pregnant. But in either case, they talk about no one at the retreat being able to pick up on the fact that she was pregnant. Then they talk about having twins. Then they talk about that she can't tell anybody until 14 weeks and she doesn't want to have to hide it so much. And that's generally what they get into. She doesn't want a gender reveal. They both say that they're not traditional because they did married at first sight in the first place. And then he wants to do anything he can to make her happy and healthy. That's it. So Will, Brittany, and Brittany's mom that she flew out from Detroit is here. It's Will's birthday, so Brittany wanted to surprise Will because he and his mom are very, very close. So they're at a restaurant. They're talking about everything. Will's 31 years old. Brittany's picking at that oyster. She does not know how to eat that at all. Now, Will's mom does reveal that Will is a very private person, and sometimes it does take a lot to get emotion out of him. Will does point out that Brittany will get upset sometimes about that because he doesn't say more about how he's feeling. Will's mom is like, yeah, I feel like, though, you should hear her out on that, and you should let her know some of the ways that you're feeling. And it doesn't always have to be negative. Sometimes you can also let her know the positives. If you guys had a lot of fun doing an activity this week, you could just say something so she has an idea of where your head is at. His mom does point out that sometimes he does get very defensive because he'll take certain things personally. And we've definitely seen that with Will, because yes, he can be condescending. He can be pretty passive aggressive, which is a form of defense. But in either case, it's a pretty good conversation. I think that Will's mom seemed pretty open to the whole thing. She seemed pretty happy, very kind. It's just a matter of like, whenever these two have conversations, I'm like, it's only just a matter of time until something sets off the trigger and everything that they talk about kind of just goes down the drain. So Chad and Belinda, they are at Kura, the revolving sushi place. They actually have one in my neck of the woods, and I like going there. Anywho, they talk about their days, and Chad does mention that he caught up with an old friend that he hasn't seen in a while. This friend has been his friend for 20 years, I think he said. So Belinda's like, did you talk about us? And he's like, yeah, I did mention a couple of things, a little bit of frustration that I'm having right now.
It's good to talk to him because I need to talk. I need to talk to a friend about my frustration because I'm at the end of my rope with this bullshit.
Chad then sort of just flies off the handle. He's like, I'm tired of this BS. I'm tired of the show. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm frustrated. I'm literally finished. Belinda's sitting there like, what has gone so wrong for you to get to this place? He's like, look, it's not you. I'm just tired of the production crew. I'm tired of being talked to like a child. I'm tired of having to change things around with my clients for the production.
I didn't say anything went wrong. I said I'm tired of the bullshit. I'm a 54-year-old combat vet, and I am done.
Show a ton of flashbacks of Chad whispering to people in different events and talking about in general how he hates the filming. He says he's not letting production run his life anymore. And Belinda's like, so you're basically finished? He's like, because he keeps saying, we're done, we're done, we're done. And Belinda's like, oh, no, you're done. Speak for yourself. Don't speak for me. He's like, okay, I'm done. She's like, you're not going to do the show. And he's like, look, they gave us a schedule, and that's the schedule I'm sticking to. If they change it around, too bad. I'm not going to be there.
Are you just not going to do any of this anymore? Like, what are you doing?
Based on what they sent us today, I will base my life on that schedule.
And again, I think this is very two-sided. As I said, we have heard on and on and on just how brutal it can be with the production crews of these shows, kinetic shows in general, because this is a kinetic show. They do not have the best track record for how they treat people behind the scenes. So there is a piece of me that does get it in terms of Chad's frustration, because I can imagine that some of the stuff that he's saying is true, that the production company does want to force storylines and push things, and they probably are a little bit chaotic when it comes to the filming. My thing that I always have to go back to, though, is that nobody forced you to be on this television show. Nobody forced you. Why are you here? I don't know. That's my biggest thing is, why are you here if you know that you don't like people telling you what's up and having to follow a schedule? Chad then says, also, I feel like they're trying to drive a wedge between Jalen and Josh. Josh texted me yesterday and he let me know that. And I was like, oh. I was like, hold up now, because we know that kinetic content does do that. I was like, oh. Not Chad spilling tea. I was like, tell me more. Tell me more. Belinda's like, is that true though? Because I just talked to Jalen and I feel like I could easily go ask Jalen and Josh if they feel that way. In fact, I could guarantee that they do not feel that way about this show. So once again, Chad reiterates, look, I'm not done with you. I'm just done with this show. I don't know. As much as I want to be like, how is Chad doing this? He's outrageous. Again, hearing all of the nightmares and horror stories I hear about these kinetic shows, I could believe behind the scenes it's kind of a lot with the production crew. And I don't know. I do feel like Belinda is really idolizing a lot. And hey, some people just don't care as much. Do I like Chad's reaction? No, I do not. Do I think Chad should be flying off the handle like a big baby saying, I'm not going to do this, I'm done? No. Do I think that Chad has to take some level of accountability for the fact that he signed up for this show? Yes. But there is a piece of me that, I don't know, does feel a little bit of empathy, because I know that these shows behind the scenes are rough. Josh and Jalen, they get a group of their friends together to do crafts at a craft center. There's not much to it. One of their friends asks them, hey, what are some activities that you guys do together? Neither one of them can answer. And then they let us know that they're still figuring out what are shared activities as a couple. Jalen says for her, just being together could be an example of an activity that they really like together. And if they're doing an activity together because they like each other's presence, that could also count as a shared hobby as well. Again, I think Josh is putting way too much force on them finding something right this second. I do agree that sometimes naturally things can just unfold. It's okay to just, kick it with friends, kick it with people, and naturally let hobbies happen. Y'all have known each other for less than 5 months. You guys have known each other for what? 2 months now or something? I forgot how long this experiment is. 8 weeks, I believe. So it's okay. It's okay that every single thing is not there right now. Megan and Derek, they babysit Megan's friends' 3 kids so they can go on a date night. Not much happens. They literally play with the kids outside for an hour. And then Josh is like, oh my God. Not Josh. Derek is like, oh my God, see? Do you want 3 kids now? It wasn't that bad. And she's like, yeah, 3 kids sounds great. And again, y'all aren't talking. Y'all aren't having real conversations on camera, so I'm not going to analyze it. We get a quick diary cam of Brittany and Will. Will is about to leave for a work trip, and Brittany is letting him know that she loves him, she appreciates him, that she's happy to be with him. He's a great person. Notice that I love you in there. Will does not say it back though, but he is like, you gonna come kiss me? And then they kiss. 1 second you're talking about how you have no emotional connection. The next second you're talking about how you're in love with the man. Girl, Brittany, I need you to see the lady. Instantaneously. So Pat meets up with his friend Adrian at a restaurant, and then Rhonda is supposed to meet up with them in around 30 minutes. So Pat is basically talking about how he's been trying really, really hard to make Rhonda feel heard, feel seen. He's been trying to put a lot of effort into this relationship to make it work, but for some reason, there's still just a bunch of disconnects.
That gets into this cycle.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right? Yeah, you got to be able to just let go and just be. Yeah. But you also need to feel safe.
There's just a bunch of things that are not working. And he's starting to get to a point where he feels hopeless because he does not know if the two of them can come together. He feels like a failure because he cannot meet Rhonda's expectations. And I'm like, no one can. No one meets Rhonda's expectations. Rhonda is bitter and miserable. That's why she's by herself like this. No shade. So his friend tells him, look, you have to let go of all of these things. You have to let go of feeling like you need to be this certain way, but you also need to feel safe and secure as well. And then Rhonda pulls up as they're having that conversation. Rhonda pulls up, barely asks the friend how he's doing, doesn't really talk to him. We somehow get onto the fact that her stepfather has been in the hospital since Monday. The conversation is already on Rhonda. Again, for somebody who claims that everybody else is talking about themselves all the time, we barely even hear Rhonda address her husband or address his friend. But anyway, so they get into some of the issues in the marriage, and Rhonda talks about how when she feels unheard, her instinct is to try to feel heard. But instead, Pat will misconstrue that emotion as anger, which causes him to shut down. And when he shuts down, then it makes her even more angry. So Rhonda then claims all she wants Pat to say in those moments is, hey, I'm frustrated. Can we talk later? And I'm like, Rhonda, you are so full of crap. You are so full of BS. It's not even funny. Because you would never take it if Pat said, I'm frustrated, can we talk later? In fact, there have been times where Pat has tried to de-escalate a situation and you have gotten mad at him and you keep going and going and going and pressing the issue. In what world would you take it if Pat said, yeah, honey, you know what? I'm a bit frustrated right now. I'm a bit irritated right now. Like, can we just talk about this later? No, Rhonda, it's your time or no time for you. If people don't want to do things on your time, then you don't want to hear it. I'm so tired of Rhonda. He then brings up the incident when they went to that concert and Rhonda had tears in her eyes and she was so emotional about that song about the river.
And I'm like relating it back to my life.
Right.
And Pat's immediate response is, the song means something totally different to me.
And Pat's first instinct was to say, I interpret it a different way. So the friend chimes in and says, look, yeah, that's kind of like dumb. You shouldn't have done that kind of thing. And yes, also I agree with Rhonda that if in a situation you feel like you're overwhelmed, you should just construe that to her and it's no big deal. The problem with a lot of the friends and family members that give advice in these situations is, yes, in an isolated situation, the advice they give is good. The problem is a lot of these friends and family, they don't see the full picture. They don't see the patterns of behavior in these people. Because honestly, again, Rhonda is always having a problem. She's always irritated. There's always something. She's always nitpicking. After a while, any real person is going to be tired and is just going to shut down. That's just it. So Rhonda gets up midway through. She goes to the bathroom and she starts crying. The producer follows her in and is like, what's wrong?
But you want to. Of course. Yeah. You can be all right?
Yep. There was something that triggered me.
It was the fact that Adrian got it just like fucking that. Like he just like didn't think twice about it. And Pat hasn't gotten it for fucking weeks.
Is everything okay? What happened? Rhonda's like, Adrian could see it in 2 seconds. I've been trying to explain this to Pat for weeks. And Adrian could see it in just a couple of seconds. I'm tired. I'm sad. I'm sad. Rhonda eventually makes it back to the table and talks about how she does not feel that Pat cares about her. She claims that she was talking about her father's death and Pat didn't listen. Again, Rhonda is also telling stories and leaving out a lot of details. Pat asked her to repeat one detail in that story. Oh my goodness, he didn't remember the exact town that you were born in and that you moved to. Oh my God, he didn't remember the exact date that your father died. Rhonda, all you do is talk. You are such a talker. No offense, but who's gonna remember every single minuscule thing you said when you go on a monologue for 20 minutes, 30 minutes? You don't let the man get a word in edgewise. Oh my Lord, oh my Lord. Pat explains that he has been trying to do things to a higher standard in this relationship, and he obviously does care. For him, he's been in relationships where things were going wrong, and his first instinct was to put everything into the relationship to try to make it work, to the point where he lost himself. And he is not going to be able to do that again. And you know what, Pat, you better stand on that. Point blank, period. Enjoy being 59 years old and live your best life. You should not have to be with a person who is acting like this. Y'all are too dang old to have this kind of dynamic. Says everybody else was first during those relationships and he can't do that again. He needs to maintain his autonomy. His friend tells him, let go of all of that. Be yourself. Pat tries to say, I don't know when that's possible. And again, yes. Again, the friends and family, they just don't see the way that a lot of this stuff goes down. But the friend says, no. Anytime is the time to be yourself. And that's not true. Not with Rhonda. With Rhonda, it's you need to be her. You need to be what she approves of you being. That's it. Rhonda's patting him on the chest talking about, yeah, open invitation to be yourself. Oh, I know I've been ranting about them too. I'm sorry if you had to turn your volume down during these parts, but I'm tired of this lady. Belinda and Jalen, they have a conversation after Belinda's dinner with Chad, and Belinda basically says that at dinner, she found out that the schedule stuff was not over for Chad and that he still had a big issue with the production crew. Belinda then brings up Chad saying that Josh felt that the production crew was trying to drive a wedge between their relationship. And Jalen's like, no, that's not it. I saw the messages yesterday. All he did was text him about wanting to go to something. And he said, no, I can't right now. I'm busy with work. Why would he lie about that? I saw the messages with my own eyes. So now Belinda is going off on this whole thing about why he would lie. Belinda says, yeah, I know. I knew that. I told him that all I could do is check with you anyway. So why would he lie? Now it's to a point where he's being rude and he's lying. You don't like this man. You don't like this man and you're just trying to find things to nitpick at. You do not like this man. This episode proved to me you don't like this man. No, you do not. You wanted so badly to be able to say, this man a liar. See, this is the reason why I shouldn't be with him. He a liar. No. All right. If you made it to this point in the video, that means you like the video. So I would greatly appreciate if you would consider supporting the channel by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It helps to get the videos out there and it inspires me to keep creating. Please hype the videos if you have hypes left for the week. Again, thank you guys so much for supporting the Married at First Sight content. Please do not spoil the next episodes. This batch has already got me heated, so I want to watch it on my own and give you guys unfiltered reactions. And I will talk to you guys in the episode 12 recap. Bye!